Hello YouTube. I've made several videos about amazing archaeological discoveries in Turkey, and I certainly will make more. And today I want to tell you about a very interesting lake, recent discoveries, and a strange creature that lives reportedly in the waters of that lake. At the bottom of Lake Van, Turkey, it's the largest salty soda lake with 3,712 square kilometers. Well, divers discovered a cemetery and areas bearing the traces of an old village. Lake Van or Van Gölü in Turkish is the largest lake in Turkey and the second largest in the Middle East. It is also the biggest sodium water lake in the world. While the ruins at the bottom of Lake Van were introduced to the world by diving, new ones were added to these remains. Following the dive made by members of two associations in Bitlis and Van provinces, it was stated that sunken ruins, determined to be a part of a historic city, imprinted with cross marks, were discovered in the depths of Lake Van. Eastern Sea Association President Cumali Birol said in a statement to the local news agency, DHA, that they discovered new mysteries waiting to be solved by diving. Cumali Birol said that as the water levels decreased, notifications were made to relevant institutions regarding some tombstones and ruins seen in the water between Tatwan and Ahlat regions. Our divers saw structures similar to a village in the region, streets and tombs with crosses and marks of the Kai tribe on them. We are endeavoring to bring the history of the region to light by giving the findings to experts. We discovered a very large area between Ahlat and Tatwan. There are cemeteries at the bottom of the water there. There are cross signs on the graves, emphasizing that Lake Van is a mysterious place for divers. Birol said that over 3 meters of water has receded in the lake basin in recent years, which brought to light many ruins, as traces of ancient civilizations are seen everywhere in the lake basin. We brought 2 geologists from England to the workshop organized by our association. Therefore, we have proved that Noah's flood happened in the Lake Van basin. These new findings, which we've discovered at a depth of 23 meters, prove this thesis. That's what Birol added. Lake Van also has stranger characteristics, and I will describe the lake in more details later, but let me tell you this. According to a legend, it is home for a lake monster popularized in Turkish folklore too, plus other people associated with this lake. Akin to the Loch Ness monster, the Lake Van monster is rumored to look like an ancient marine reptile such as plesiosaur. In Armenian folklore, the Lake Van monster is a lake monster said to live in Lake Van in eastern Turkey. The Armenian chronicles Moses Horenatsi and Anania Shirakatsi wrote about the Vishaps, water dragons in Armenian mythology, living in Lake Van. According to the legend, the god Vahagn, the Vishapagan, reaper of Vishaps, would plunge into Lake Van to drag out any Vishap that had grown large enough to devour the world. A story in the Ottoman newspaper Saadet on April 29, 1889, recounted that a creature has dragged a man into the Lake Van. Following reports of the incident, the Ottoman government sent an official scientific survey group to the lake, but they failed to spot the creature. Well, what's well known is that in 1997, A local man called Yunal Kozak claimed to have captured the monster on video, which was sent for analysis. The academic Mustafa Nutku has written a book about the creature, together with the discoverer, with Kozak. In 2017, a team of archaeologists and independent divers from Van Yuzunshu University they found 3,000-year-old underwater fortress while diving to explore the lake. Taksin Ceylan, head of the project's diving team, initially came to Lake Van in search of the Lake Van monster. This the creature that I told you about, cousin of Scotland's Loch Ness monster, seems to be. There was a rumor that there might be something under the water, but most archaeologists and museum officials told us that we will not find anything. That's what Ceylan told the Daily Sabah newspaper. While spanning almost a mile around, the castle stands about 14 feet high and is impeccably preserved due to the lake's alkaline water. Researchers believe that it's a relic of the Urartu civilization, also known as the Kingdom of Van, which thrived from the 9th to the 6th centuries BC. The ancient castle isn't the first piece of history Lake Van is hiding. In 2016, the team also discovered a 2-square-mile field of stalagmites known as underwater fairy chimneys. They also found 1,000-year-old gravestones from the Seljuk era, and they also discovered a sunken Russian ship believed to have gone down in 1948. Many civilizations and people have settled around Lake Van. They named the lake the Upper Sea and believed it had many mysterious things. With this belief in mind, we are working to reveal the lake's secret, according to Ceylan's interview with the Quirkier Daily News. It turns out that the story is more complicated and mysterious, actually, than the recent news suggested. That's according to local archaeologists and the leader of the photography team who discovered that castle. Part of the castle, a term that the discoverers used to describe it, those parts likely date to the Middle Ages, and that which lasted from 476 AD to 1450, and it may not be an entirely new discovery. Reports from surveys of the Lake Van area conducted in the 1950s and 1960s noted the existence of the structure. It's not clear when the castle was washed underwater. For instance, some of those reports indicated that the medieval castle builders at Lake Van actually reused ancient materials dating back to about 1000 BC to create the castle walls. The reports also mention a wall that plunges into the lake that has inscriptions on it that discuss an ancient king named Rusa and his interactions with a god named Haldi. The castle is approximately 1 kilometer, less than a mile long, and has a solid structure. The castle is made primarily of cut stones, according to Ceylan, adding that the team had found a lion drawing on one of them, supporting the idea that the Urartians, a people who flourished in Turkey about 3,000 years ago, may have built the structure. Lions were a popular motif among the people of Urartu. Some people scientists say that it looks more medieval than something from the Urartian kingdom. For example, Kemalettin Köreglu, and archaeology professor at the Marmara University, agrees that much of the underwater remains are actually medieval. He noted that some of the images show masonry between the ashlar wall stones. It's a type of stone that is square cut. The walls seem medieval or late antique period rather than Urartu. Urartian never used any material between ashlar walls stones to connect each other, according to the scientist. It's possible that some of the 3,000-year-old Urartian remains seen in the photographs were actually reused by the castle builders during the Middle Ages, according to an American history professor from New York, Paul Zimansky. He also said that he needs to conduct more research. Well, you see, there were earlier explorers, a vast collection of surveys and documents published by archaeologists who surveyed that lake in the 1950s and 1960s, includes mentions of both Urartu and medieval remains in the area. One interesting paper by archaeologists Alan Burney and Lawson, published in 1958 in the journal Anatolian Studies, discussed a medieval castle at Aldil-Sevas on the north shore of Lake Van, whose builders had reused blocks that had been constructed by the Urartians 3,000 years ago. Another fascinating report and intriguing, published in 1959 in the same Anatolian Studies journal by a scholar named P. Hulin, reports on a lofty wall of later than Urartian times and that runs into the lake. While investigating the wall, Hulin apparently discovered inscriptions dating back 2,700 years that mention that Urartian king named Rusa. The inscriptions are fragmentary, and Hulin could make only a small amount of the writing. The inscriptions discuss Rusa, who appears to be interacting with Haldi, that Urartian god. So let me tell you a little bit about this lake, because I'm sure there'll be more expeditions if there is funding. And considering the area, we're bound to find materials that harken back to antiquity and beyond. Lake Van is primarily a tectonic lake. It was formed more than 600,000 years ago by the gradual subsidence of large block of the earth crust due to movement on several major faults that run through this portion of eastern Anatolia. Lake Van lies in the far east of Turkey, again in the provinces of Van and Bitlis in the Armenian highlands. It is a saline or soda lake. It receives water from many small streams that come down from the surrounding mountains. It is one of the world's few endorheic lakes, meaning having no outlets, of size greater than 3,000 square kilometers. A volcanic eruption blocked its original outlet in prehistoric times. The largest body of water in Turkey, this triangular-shaped lake contains salt water that is unsuitable for drinking or irrigation. So the monster, the cryptid, lives in the water unsuitable for many purposes. But according to scientists, the only life form that can survive in the water is a species of fresh water fish called darech that has adapted to live in a saline environment. Very interesting. So I'll keep my eyes open and my ears open to more news from that area in particular and from Turkey in general, because the archaeological discoveries in that land are just more than fabulous. Splendid, superb. You can use as many descriptive words as you can. But we're finding more and more documents, objects, ancient cities, and more, to going back to the Roman times, and of course before that. And I'll speak more about it in the future. If you like my research, please support me through the links you will find in the description to this video, and please tell others about my research as well. Thank you.